My name is Hannah, and this is my beauty budget. Hey y'all, it's time for another reckoning, and I have the camera set up for overhead filming, so I thought that I would go ahead and do an overhead shot reckoning, which I really enjoyed doing the last time I did it. The feedback from you guys was that you like both kinds of reckonings. You like the overhead shot reckonings, and you also like the face-to-face reckonings, so I think it's fun to do a little bit of both. I feel like this purgatory box is particularly suited for an overhead reckoning because there are a lot of palettes in here. There are a lot of palettes and other kind of interesting powder products and color cosmetics as opposed to more sort of skincare. This is like a very makeup heavy purgatory box. So I think that this is perfect timing. I'm excited to reckon with these products. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. Okay, these are all of the things with which I am about to reckon. It was really fun last time to have a little guessing game at this stage. If you feel like pausing the video and taking a guess and writing in the comments one of these products that you think I'm going to keep, like something you're pretty sure I'm going to keep, and then one thing you're pretty sure that I'm not going to keep, go ahead and do it. It was so fun last time reading which products you guys thought I was going to keep and which ones you thought I wasn't going to keep. Some of you were so right and some of you were very good humored about being wrong. I'm going to put everything back into the box and then go through these pieces one by one. All right, let's start with this. I also want to say somebody keeps driving back and forth outside my window on one of those motorcycles that's really, really loud. And I keep having to stop because I don't know what they're doing, like circling the city or something, but I'm just going to talk through it if it happens again. So if you hear some super loud motorcycle noise outside, I'm sorry. I'm not going to like make space for it and stop and start. It's just getting too frustrating and it's not worth my emotional health. I think everyone will be able to take it if we hear that noise during the video. Speaking of my emotional health, what joy, what elation has come from this product. This is the VDL Lumi Layer Primer. It's something I wanted to try for a really long time. It's a K-beauty product. It's kind of already become a cult classic. And it's one of those illuminating, light reflecting, kind of rainbowy primers. So it kind of reminds me of the, what was the name of that Pure primer? Was it called like the Photo Focus? Isn't that some sort of drugstore product? I can't remember anything now. I've been filming for so long today, but I had a Pure product that was kind of like this that I really loved, but I hated the packaging. And this, the packaging is stunning and the product itself is even better than that one from Pure. It's one of the best primers I've ever used. Right now it's sort of neck and neck with the green color correcting one from Clarins for the prize of like literally favorite primer of all time. I've fallen hard for this product. I feel so lucky to have received it as PR when I was at BeautyCon. The guy at the VDL booth gave me this and a couple of lip products to try, and I love this. I'm definitely keeping it. I've been using it constantly. I'll try to demo it on my face in a video soon because I would like you guys to see how it illuminates and evens out the skin. It's just a beautiful, beautiful product. By the way, we're starting with everything that's not a palette, and then we're gonna finish with all the palettes at once. So I'm just knocking out everything that's not a palette. This is the Urban Decay Stay Naked Correcting Concealer, the newest release from Urban Decay. And I got this complimentary when I went to the launch party for this line. They gave me this concealer. It is my color. It's 10NN. It's the lightest and the neutral undertone one, but it's just a little bit cakey for me. It's just not skin-like enough for me, and it does oxidize a tiny bit over the course of the day. If I didn't have another almost brand new concealer that's really, really perfect, I would keep this because I've worn it actually a bunch of times since I received it as a gift. It's absolutely serviceable for me. It's just that Complexion products, concealer being the main one that I use, are my main makeup. Like I will wear a touch of brightening and even skin evening concealer, even on days when I don't wear like mascara. You know what I mean? Like even when I'm truly not wearing makeup, I'll often even out my skin tone with just a little bit of concealer. So it's the type of product about which I am the most picky. I'll wear, you know, a sort of funky, creasy eyeshadow. I'll wear a slightly crusty lip just for fun. I'll sort of mess around with my color cosmetics, but I really don't like it if my skin looks makeup-y or cakey or cracky or anything like that. So this is perfectly serviceable, but the fact that it's not truly perfect, and also the fact that it takes me so long to go through a concealer because I use only a little bit at a time. The one that I have is going to last me at least a year. It's the one from Makeup Forever that I purchased. And I also have those supplementary ones from YSL, the Touche Éclat and the Touche Éclat full coverage concealer. So I just don't need a fourth product of this kind. I like this. I tacitly approve of it. I'm glad to have gotten the chance to try it, and I'm not going to keep it. This was included in a care package from a subscriber, and I've said it in a couple of recent videos, but I just want to reiterate here that I'm no longer accepting subscriber gifts. There are a number of things in this box with which I'm reckoning today that were in the last wave of subscriber gifts. And I'm going to fully explain myself in a channel changes video. Needless to say, I'm super grateful for everything that I've ever received in subscriber gift packages. It's brought me a lot of joy, but it's just getting to be too much, and so I'm changing my policy. But this was in one of the packages I received recently, and it's a Natasha Denona eyeshadow. It's in the color Bronze Age. It's super beautiful. I just have so many eyeshadows that look like this. I have so many. I would love to give this away to a friend because a little Natasha Denona single in its own little like container like this is such a good go-to shadow for someone who doesn't wear that much makeup. So this is one of those situations in which the potential recipient, if I give it away, is going to cherish it a lot more deeply than I would be able to, because I would just be depotting this and adding it to a huge collection of singles that's already populated by a bunch of coppery bronzes. So this one is going to a friend. Let's talk about these two beautiful things. I might be keeping both of these. They're both really, really pretty. I think I am going to be keeping both of these. So this is a highlighter from LC Cosmetics. When I was at BeautyCon, there was a little Ulta booth in the VIP area, the creator. I was there as a creator guest. There was like an Ulta booth in the creator area, and they were giving away gift bags, and this was in it. So it was sort of in celebration of the fact that LC has recently come into Ulta. And then this came to me through Octoly from Givenchy. It's the Healthy Glow Powder number 2.5 Natural Rose. I think it was the limited edition summer version of the Healthy Glow Powder. This is a very, very subtle, sort of peachy gold glowy powder, and it sort of functions as a slightly more peachy goldy bronze version of the Kevyn Aucoin Neo highlighter that I use as a bronzer. It's like a light shimmery, light diffusing bronzer on me. I think it's mostly supposed to be like an illuminating powder, but for me it functions in sort of a sheer bronzer capacity. And since it arrived in the mail, I've been really enjoying using it. It gives me that summery glow, which I myself do not have because I wear sunscreen so assiduously. So even though it's the summer, I don't really have a glow. And this, it's so subtle, it's so shimmery, and the compact is so beautiful. And I also recently decluttered all of my products of this type and got it down to a really quite reasonable number for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and add this to the collection and see how it fares. And then this one from LC, I have been pleasantly surprised by because it's gonna look kind of thick, I feel like, on my hand because I got it with a finger. It's a pretty thick swatch. And if I layer this onto my cheek too thickly, or if I spray my face and then I use it, it does have the potential to build up and look too metallic in a way that I don't love. But if I just get a little on my brush and I buff and buff and buff and buff it into my cheek, especially if I don't have any other powder products underneath it, like no blush, if I'm just buffing it into my bare cheek, it ends up looking really glossy. I don't really have something to achieve like a really glass-like glossy finish. And this has given that to me. I'm really grateful that I received it as a gift from Ulta because I don't know, I never would have tried it. I haven't heard anything about this highlighter performing that way, but it's been my go-to for the past several weeks because again, with a very light amount, like just because you can see like if you build it up thickly, it gets that sort of metallic peachy sheen, which isn't my favorite for highlighter because I'm 34, you know, like I've got texture, I've got crow's feet that you don't really see if you look at me from a decent distance. But if I highlight my whole cheek area with a really thick layer like this, you can really see those wrinkles. But a super soft sheer layer just makes that whole part of my face look glossy, and I'm so here for that. So I'm gonna keep this too. This is so interesting. This also was given to me at BeautyCon. It's a volumizing powder, and it's super weird. Like, I don't know if I can show you like how it comes out like a powder. Could you see that? See how it like fluffs out like a powder? But then it immediately feels wet, damp. So it disperses like a powder, but then it becomes immediately damp and super sticky. It's for the hair that I see. It's a hair volumizing powder. I'm obsessed. I love this. I mean, obsessed. You know that's tongue-in-cheek, right? That's like a very tongue-in-cheek beauty guru thing to be like, I'm obsessed with it. What I really mean to say is I am in awe of the way that this performs. A few puffs of this in the roots of my hair after washing, and I've got that intense volume and French girl hair all week. We're on to something with this product. I'm definitely going to keep it, and I'll try to demo this in a video too. Time will tell. I've only used it for about 2 weeks. The intensity, the stickiness, that's what I crave, like a super intense, sticky, volumizing product. That's what I need for my hair, which seems to like eat almost everything that I spray into it. So I'm really here for this product. It's very intense, and a little goes a long way. Like, I thought this was like a little sample size, which it might be, but after I used it a couple times, I was like, okay, this is fine. This is enough. Like, just a couple sprays is enough. I haven't done that much research about this. I don't really know what its deal is. All I know is that I'm here for it and I'm keeping it. So it's the Marc Anthony Dream Big Volumizing Super Powder. Instant lift and texture, and the texture is really what it gives. It's a wild and very effective product. Okay, everything else is an eyeshadow palette, so let's just bust through them. This is the City Mini palette in Rooftop Bronzes from Maybelline. This was in a care package from a subscriber. This right here, this really, really shimmery, peachy, shiny color is very, very pretty. I just don't need a little standalone go-to neutral palette like this. If I need neutrals, I'll make my own palette using singles. And I did use this. I gave it a fair shot. I was prepared for it to blow me away and to be in love with it and to keep it, especially because it's not devoid of texture, which is great. It's beautiful. The whole thing is beautiful. But the look that I came up with was completely run-of-the-mill and something that I could have done with so many other eyeshadows in my collection. So I am going to find someone to adopt this. This is the Kevyn Aucoin Emphasize Eye Design palette in the shade Magnify. And I requested this from Octoly. It was in my Octoly Free store at the same time as the foundation balm from Kevyn Aucoin. So I just decided to try them both at the same time. Also, look how pretty it is. It's freaking beautiful. It's so stunning. And this shadow in particular in the middle is just, I mean, look at this. Look at this. Ah, it's so pretty. Look at that. And it comes with this shiny liquid eyeshadow. Really, 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 really pretty. So I think it's gorgeous. It was really fun to play with a little bit, but it's super bulky. I was expecting it to be like a half this size. It's just, look how thick it is. It's because of that liquid eyeshadow that's in there. It's just like huge. And I just don't have room. I mean, I do technically. If I really, really loved it, if it was totally unique to me and I was going to use it constantly, then I could make room for it. But any look that I can make with this, I can make with what I have. This is really beautiful and in many ways unique. I don't know if I have an eyeshadow that's exactly like that. I might not have exactly that, but that's okay with me. I don't need to store this bulky thing just to hold on to this one eyeshadow when I have so many. I definitely don't have a liquid shadow like this, but this is sort of a one look palette. It's like a really gorgeous smoky charcoal eye highlighted with these glimmery sort of purple ocean shiny silver shadows. That's the look. It doesn't really suit me right now to keep a whole palette just for one look. That's kind of what's going on with this too. It's like a whole palette just for that one neutral look. That's not my style right now in makeup. I don't really need that. I don't need this whole thing just for the one look that I would get with it over and over again, even if I were to use it a bunch of times. Also, this is brand new. I've just used it a couple of times to test it out and decide if I wanted to keep it and to find out if it was good quality, which it is. The quality is amazing. It's amazing. I mean, it's awesome. So I love it. I'm happy to be able to report back on my channel that this is a great quality product. It just doesn't fit in my current life. So I'm going to give this to someone and it's going to be an amazing gift. I'm about to contradict everything that I just said because this in many ways is also a one-trick pony. It's the Kaleidos Sci-Fi palette, the Futurism 2 Sci-Fi palette. And a subscriber sent this to me. It sounds like she had ordered some shadows from Kaleidos along with her sister and they had ended up with an extra green palette. So she sent me the extra one. I was so excited. I was so excited when she emailed me. I was so excited to try it out because, okay, this yellowy mustard, these two shimmers are blinding, and one is like a gold and one's a green. These two greens are just different enough from each other to be worth having both, and I love that in this palette. Look at that gold, look at that gold, look at that green. And then those are the two greens. One's a little bit more khaki and one's a little bit more evergreen. But this black right here is my main reason for wanting this palette because I recently saw Lauren swatch all of her blacks and that was the one that performed the best. And I love a good black. And I recently decluttered all of my eyeshadow palettes and I ended up decluttering a lot of the ones that had black in them. I think I only kept one eyeshadow palette with a black and it was that Viseart palette, the Viseart Neutral palette. It's really exciting to have, spoiler alert, I'm keeping this. It's really exciting to have the blackest black in my collection and I will be reaching for this constantly whenever I need a black. I've already used this a bunch and it performs, I mean, it's just stunning. The black, it's just stunning. I love how it performs. And I've been able to get looks with more variety than I expected. So you can get like a mustardy gold look from this that's not green at all. And you can get kind of a fresh green look if you don't include any of the muddy golds, but just this evergreen and that green. And then you can get sort of the blended gold to green smoky eye, which is a look that I really, really love. I'll insert a picture of my Instagram picture. I'll insert my Instagram picture of that look right here so you can see what I'm talking about. But it's not just the colors, it's the formula, it's the packaging. I am disinclined these days to keep a one-trick pony eyeshadow palette, as you just saw when I passed along these two. The reasons that I passed both of these along also apply to this palette, but there are many other things about this that are keeping it afloat for me in this process. So I'm going to add this to my recently decluttered collection of eyeshadows. I think I'll be glad I did. So this is from LA Girl. This was also given to me at BeautyCon and I'm impressed by the packaging. It's the Get Feverish eyeshadow palette. It's very, very solid and lovely. It's hard to pass on it. I'm not going to keep this because it's so one tone. Like it's one of those eyeshadow palettes where it's like all the same color. It's not, you know, it's like a little bit different, but when you start playing with it, like look at those three, you know, it's not just the colors too, it's also the formula. It's a little bit dusty. So when I start putting them on my eyes, they all kind of become one color. The shimmers aren't very shimmery and they're all in the same tone. It's like if it were in black and white, it would just look like it was all one or two colors because there's not very much tonal variation. I do love, it's very aesthetically pleasing. Like it's really, really pretty. I even tried using it as tried using them as blushes for a while just to see if it might be worth keeping for that. But overall, it didn't distinguish enough itself. It didn't distinguish itself enough to be worth adding into my permanent collection. So I'm going to rehome that one. This is an adorable palette that really impressed me. It's by Zoeva. It was also given to me at BeautyCon. It's the Caramel Melange palette, and it really, really, really feels like a little chocolate bar. Like it's really, really cute. Really cute. I've done a couple of looks with this to test it out, and I really loved them. I mean, it performs really well. Look at that. The Zoeva formula is great, and I'm really glad that I got the chance to try it. I got to try this palette and try the Zoeva formula. I mean, all of it. They swatch beautifully. They perform beautifully on the eyes. This coral is gorgeous. If I hadn't recently purchased kind of a build my own coral eyeshadow palette from ColourPop, I'd be tempted to keep it because of that color. But at the end of the day, color-wise and texture-wise, this doesn't stand out for me. And once again, this will be a perfect little gift for a friend who doesn't wear eyeshadow all that much and who travels a lot and who needs easy, compact, one-look palettes. So I'm going to give this away. This is a little bit of a tough one for me because it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, it's so pretty. So this came from the Milani booth at BeautyCon. It was a gift for review. It was an influencer gift. This shadow down here in the corner, it's called Dripping, is a spot-on dupe for Nabla Alchemy. I mean, a spot-on dupe. I swatched them together on my Instagram. I'm not going to dig Alchemy out right now because it's buried under some eyeshadow palettes, and I'm sort of like stuck sitting where I am right now. But I'm telling you, like you wouldn't be able to tell the difference on your eyes or in a swatch. It's pretty amazing. And this blue shadow gasp right here really performs. It's lovely on the eyes. I've played a lot with this in makeup playtime. I really like this weird black with gold glitter called Gilded Noir. It's grungy and weird. Some of these shimmers are really stunning. This one's called Don't Ask, and it's like a champagne platinum. This one's called After Party, and it's more like a peachy champagne. It's just beautiful. I'm really impressed by Milani. I love this one, Posh. It's like a sort of a ruddy purple with a little bit of sparkle. This is a grungy rainbow that's currently on the market, and it's very beautiful. Not all of the shadows perform well. Bubbly is lackluster. Entitled is lackluster. I think even this purple, that performs pretty well actually. So the black and the brown are a little bit powdery. So it's not an all-round total hit. I think, again, if I had never been on YouTube, if I was living a different life, if I didn't have any colorful eyeshadow and I was wanting a grungy rainbow and I didn't have a robust collection of singles, I might buy this and be really, really happy with it. I loved playing with it. I loved getting to try it out. I've never tried Milani eyeshadow, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really hold its own in a collection the size of the one that I have and with so much texture diversity. So I'm going to give this away to someone who I think will probably really love it. And I loved it. I loved playing with it, but I don't think I'll miss it. I'm gonna go wash off my arms so that we can keep going with the palettes. And let's also have a quick ad break. I will be right back. Okay, we're back, and I couldn't get the last remnants of that Kevyn Aucoin shadow to come off of my arm. It hasn't stained, it's just really sticky, and I just didn't want to go at it too roughly right now because my arms have kind of taken a beating today. So I'm going to swatch the next palette on my other arm, and it's this, the Gemini palette from Melt Cosmetics. So this was sent to me by a lovely subscriber who purchased it for herself a while back and just found she wasn't getting that much use out of it, and she asked me if I wanted to try it, and I'm really excited to be able to try Melt. I've never tried any of their eyeshadows before. Of everything they've ever released, this palette is the one that has intrigued me the most, except for maybe the Shapeshifter stack. That really intrigued me, but I was blown away at her offer. I was really excited to be able to try this, and it's been interesting. I didn't really quite, so this is interesting because these are like in many ways, like they have similar vibes, right? I mean, look, you know, they're similar. I definitely know that I want to keep this. So, because it's just perfect to me. So that puts some pressure on this palette because this has a lot more eyeshadows in it, but I don't necessarily know if the thing that this has to offer that this doesn't is worth keeping a whole extra palette for. And you know what? I'm not sure I'm ready to decide about this. I think I'm going to keep it in the purgatory box because I feel like I haven't played with it that much. I've played with it enough to become aware that it's almost all matte. And so that makes me lean against it a little bit because I tend to prefer shimmer shadows and I build most of my looks around shimmer shadows. So the way that I feel right now is that it would make sense for me to keep the Kaleidos green palette and not to keep this. But I feel a little funny making that decision right now. It feels hasty. So I think what I will do is to keep playing with this. I'm going to put this back in the purgatory box. I jumped the gun. This, however, is a no-brainer. And I feel so grateful to my friend Simbri for taking me to BeautyCon. This was also given to me by the Huda Beauty booth in the influencer section in BeautyCon. And it is the Desert Dusk palette. And it's the Huda Beauty palette that I've always been the most intrigued by. I've also never tried anything from Huda. Like I've never tried any of her eyeshadow palettes. I want to put something on top of this so that it doesn't blind you. Well, it's okay, right? Is it okay, or is it like messing up the white balance? It's nothing new. It's just so perfect. So like this color, for example, it's just a brown. It's called Oud, but it's such a perfectly slightly warm, creamy, chocolatey brown. It's like a brown, it's like the perfect balanced brown, the perfect tone of brown. Also, this orange is something that I always want but can't really find in my collection, like a really brilliant tangerine. And Retrograde and Twilight, which are so similar to a bunch of duochrome shadows that I have, like Glass Bowl, Alchemy, some of my JD Glow shadow. I mean, it's just, you know, these sort of like blue to purple with a little bit of a grungy undertone. Duochromes I'm no stranger to them, but they complete this palette so perfectly. Similarly, this sparkly gold, you know what I mean? It's like, whatever, like there are so many sparkly golds. It just all hangs together so well. I'm just enamored of this palette, and I'm really excited that I'm getting a chance to try Huda Beauty eyeshadows. I love the looks that I've created with this palette. I can't wait to move it into my quote unquote permanent collection, and I'm really, really grateful to have been given it. This is just, it's right up my alley. If you saw my eyeshadow palette declutter, you saw that I actually kept a number of eyeshadow palettes that have similar vibes to this, but that's fine with me. I'm going to keep this. I don't need to talk about it anymore. It's just like, it's really exciting for me. It's beautiful. And I do think, especially this orange, maybe even this like orchid purple, which swatches terribly, actually. It's the one shadow in here that I can't get a good swatch out of. But that, and even this brown, and actually this color right here, amber, that's a really, really good dupe for the color in the Natasha Denona coral palette that I couldn't dupe in my collection. Remember when I was building a palette to dupe the vibes of that Natasha Denona cranberry palette or coral palette, and I was like, there's one shadow in there that I don't have a dupe for in my singles or in my palettes. This is closer than anything that I've previously owned. So there definitely are some unique qualities in this. More than that, I just feel like it's sort of a perfect palette in its own funny way, and I could see myself like traveling with this or wearing only this for a month or something like that. So it's a keeper for me. Okay, so here is how I did in the reckoning. I am parting with 7 pieces of makeup, and I'm keeping 6 pieces of makeup and hair products. And then there's this last little palette that's going to stay in the purgatory box. I will reckon with it another day after I've had more time to understand it. So this is pretty good. I'm adding 2 palettes to my collection of palettes, my newly decluttered collection of palettes, and I feel like that's okay, especially because my feelings about each one of these are so warm and strong. I'm really, really excited about adding these in and playing with them some more. Same goes with these face powders. I feel like I really made room recently in my collection for just 2 more. That's perfect. And these are just such star products. They've knocked it out of the park for me. So this is a good little collection to keep. And these will also be really, really, really beautiful gifts to give away to some of my friends. That is it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed this edition of Hannah's Reckoning, and I hope that you are not forgetting to take extra good care of yourself right now so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.